Does it bother you that J.D. Vance won't say that Donald Trump lost the 2020 election, or is that not much of an issue to you?
It's not an issue to me or the campaign, no.
It's not. Who won the 2020 election, Bianca?
Again, are we going to be focusing on the issues that people
This is
care
an issue.
about
It's
right
called
now?
democracy. This is an issue. It's
No,
called
it's not
democracy.
even polling in the
You won't
top
answer the
10
question?
major issues of the people.
I don't know what top 10 you're talking about, but I find it amazing that you won't even answer that question. You won't say whether Donald Trump lost in 2020 with no
I just
evidence.
don't want to waste. If you're going to continue wasting my time with issues that are not important to the American people, then
So,
I don't know
so
what
our
I'm doing here.
democracies,
I thought that this was going to be an interview, not a
this
debate.
is an interview. I'm
If you
asking
want
you,
to engage in a debate, I can get you somebody else
I'm
on.
asking you the same questions that Donald Trump has asked and JD Vance has been asked. You're the deputy director and you don't want to answer whether Donald Trump won or lost the 2020
I'm the
election.
deputy director of Hispanic communications. This has nothing to do with my
You
role,
support
much less the campaign. It's not a priority for the people. I'm not going to talk about this. I want to talk about the current administration that is ruining people's livelihoods. The
how are
fact
they
that
doing
home
that?
ownership rates are at the lowest level in decades for Latino Americans is astounding. And the fact that you don't want to talk about that, you don't want to talk about actual pressing issues for Latinos, which is what my role is, goes to show the length of your own personal agenda. And I don't
I
care
don't
if you
have a
voted
personal
for
agenda.
Democrats in the past. The fact of the
Okay,
matter is that you're not being objective right at this moment if you're
I'm
supposed to
being
be a
very
reporter.
objective, and I'm sorry you don't like pressing questions. I'm sorry that you don't believe that Latinos and Americans, but I know a lot of Latinos as well that care about our democracy. January 6th was an embarrassment. I understand you don't want to talk about any of these things. You just want to talk about the future. You know who's talking about the future? And you don't want to talk about this. Kamala Harris. You know what Donald Trump is talking about? His grievances on stages throughout the country. He talks about Hannibal Lecter. He talks about electrocuting sharks. The man who you support is not talking about the future. He's the one talking about the past. He's the one talking about his grievances. I've been to Trump rallies and I've been to Harris rallies, with all due respect, ma'am. And at Harris rallies, she's talking about the future. She's talking about gun control. She's talking about abortion. She's talking about the economy. She's talking about maternity leave. She's talking about a $25,000 credit for people that want to buy homes, with all due
That's
respect.
it's gonna raise home ownership rates.
Okay,
This is
you
also
can
proven
say
by
that, but Donald Trump
economists.
is the guy that's saying
I'm
Kamala
not
Harris turned
saying
black.
that. That's a fact.
Donald Trump,
Economists have
and here's
actually warned that Kamala Harris's policies are going to make life more expensive and home ownership a lot more out of reach for Latino Americans. That is a fact.
okay, you're entitled to that opinion, but I think Kamala Harris is
It's not an
talking about.
opinion, it's a fact.
Okay, well, is it a fact? You know what else is a fact? Donald Trump lost in 2020, but you won't even admit that in this interview. It's not a debate question or a trick question. Why won't you
Wait,
just say Donald Trump
I thought
lost?
that you said you were focusing on the future. So why are you focusing on the past right
I'm
now?
focusing on the fact that you're too cowardly that you won't even answer a basic question, which is who won the 2020 election. Quite frankly,
Because I
ma'am,
don't
it's an
want to waste the
embarrassment.
time of current voters that are focusing on the
There are
2024 elections. They're not thinking about 2020. We're past
Donald
2020.
Trump is.
It's
Then why don't
4 years
you tell?
later.
Then
Let's
why don't
talk
you
about
tell
the
Donald?
policies that
Then,
people care about the most
you know
right
what?
now.
We wouldn't be focused on this if JD Vance and Donald Trump just admitted the obvious. The earth is not flat and Donald Trump lost.
I can tell you lose a lot of sleep over this. It's very evident.
Lose a
I
lot
sleep
of
just
sleep.
fine. Yeah.
Okay, I sleep fine too. I find it interesting that people like you who support Donald Trump can't answer the most basic of questions, and you want to blame Joe Biden for inflation all over the
Because
world,
why would
which
I
is,
answer such an obvious question if for you it's such an obvious answer?
well, no, not just for
Hello?
me, for anybody that's not biased, it's an obvious answer. But the man who you support still says he won the 2020 election. JD Vance is too cowardly to admit it. And quite frankly, ma'am, so are you. You won't even say that Donald Trump lost. It's insane. Guess what? In 2016, Donald Trump won a free and fair election. I've said that every single day. Every single day. Donald Trump, fair and square, beat Hillary Clinton. But you won't say, just like so many others that are Trump surrogates, okay, won't admit that Donald Trump lost in 2020. You want to talk about the future? That's fine. Guess what? Let's talk about the future. If Donald Trump loses in November, he will not concede. If Kamala Harris
That's not
loses,
true.
oh, really?
That's
I'll
not
make a
true.
wager with you right now. If he I'll make $1,000 bet
I
with
don't
you
need
right
to
now.
make any
Yeah.
wagers with
If
you. I would just
Kamala Harris,
invite you to go onto Google and you can find articles that have already been with statements released that say that no, Donald Trump is not going to be
okay, well, I
refusing
guess we'll
any
have to wait and
election
see what happens.
results.
Kamala Harris will admit if she loses. She will call it, just like Hillary Clinton, she will call Donald Trump and she will concede. I guarantee you, under no circumstance, if Donald Trump loses, he will not concede the election. And I am amazed that you think he will.
How about you ask also Kamala Harris, why is it that from like night and day, basically in 24 hours, it seems that she completely averted a Democratic primary process to replace Joe Biden? Why don't you ask yourself, if you care so much about democracy, what's going
Sure,
on
I
over
do.
there?
Sure, I'll answer
And
that
then
question.
I'm gonna end with this because I actually have to get going. I have another
I'm sure
interview.
you do. I'm sure you do. Thank you for not
Donald
answering
Trump
any of my
is going
questions
to
directly.
win this election. Donald Trump is going
Okay.
to win this
Sure.
election.
Sure.
And Kamala Harris and Joe Biden, no matter how much they try to pander to my community, the Latinos, we're shifting away from them. And
Okay,
I'm
well,
very proud of the effort.
I guess we'll see what happens in November, but thank you for not answering any of my questions and not being factually accurate with almost any of your answers that you've given me throughout this entire interview. It really is pathetic. But I appreciate you taking the time for joining us. I think you're going to be proven wrong, but guess what? The difference between you and me is
I can't wait for actually, if you can record this clip, that'd be great.
Sure.
Yeah.
Actually, we do record it actually because it's a live radio show. So we are recording it.
So
I'm also going to clip. I will clip that, and I will also clip over and over again how you won't answer who won the 2020 election. You don't want to talk about the sexual abuse. You don't want to talk about any of Donald Trump's past, but you're happy to talk. Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Bye-bye. Another Trump idiot joining me on the show, ladies and gentlemen.